第四课 In this lesson, you will learn how to ask someone's name politely, as well as how to introduce yourself and ask for permission. 语音练习。
好，我们开始，听我发音。鸡、七、西、鸭、烟、央、微、温、约、yuan. And when you do the yue sound, make sure your mouth is rounded. Yue, yue. And again, I'll put links in the description so you can practice on the pronunciation.
四声
鸡、几、几、记。这、记者、记者。亲、请、请、敬。金、几、进、请进。归、鬼、贵。先、行、醒、性。贵姓、贵姓。先、贤、显、现。生、省、省、上。先生。鱼、鱼、语、玉。烟、言、眼、燕。语言、语言。薛、学、雪、穴。渊、源、远、院。学院、学院。习、习、喜、系。学习、学习。憨、韩、喊、汉。汉语、汉语。加、夹、甲、架。加拿大、加拿大。
生词 Part 1
听我发音，注意声调，注意声调。认识，认识。高兴，高兴。高，高。可以，可以。进来，进来。进，进。来，来。请，请。记者，记者。请问，请问。贵姓，贵姓。姓，姓。叫，叫。先生，先生。羊，羊。Sorry for messing up some of the tones here. But that's because when you put certain characters together, the tones fall away. Like for example, 来 is a neutral tone in 进来. But by itself it's 来, and the same for 先生. 先生. 生 is first tone, but when it's with 先生, it's a neutral tone. So anyway, now I'll go over what these mean. Very simple. 认识, make sure you can see that. Okay. 认识 means to know. For example, 我认识她, I know her. 她认识我, she knows me. 高兴, 高兴 is happy. So, 我很高兴, 我很高兴, I'm happy. 他也很高兴, he's also happy. 高 means tall. 高 tall. 可以is may I or like can I. 进来 is to come in. So 进 is enter and 来 is to come. So literally it's 进来. So it means like to come in. 请 is please. 记者 is reporter. 请问 literally means 请 is please and 问 is to ask. So 请问 means may I ask. So before you ask someone a question, if you want to be polite, you can start with 请问贵姓 it's basically like asking someone what their surname is. 您贵姓 What is your surname? 您贵姓 姓 is surname, or like my surname is. So 我姓高 My surname is 高 我姓高 So 姓 is like surname, or like if you're telling someone what your surname is. 照 is call, and you can also use it for telling someone what your name is. So 我叫高希妮 So I am called 高希妮 先生 And I think we talked about titles earlier, like 老师 and 医生 先生 also falls into this. So you would say 杨 this is just a surname. 杨先生 You would not say 先生杨 That is not correct. Don't even think about saying it that way. It is 杨先生 And as you hear, as you read more Chinese text and see the surname coming before the title, it'll make more sense. And when you hear somebody say it the other way around, it's going to sound really weird to you. I'm trying to think if there's any more explanation. That's pretty much it. So I'll go over the words quickly once again. 认识 to know. 高兴 happy. 高 tall or high. 可以 can I, or it's like may, can. 进来 come in. 进 to enter. 来 to come. 请 please. 记者 reporter. 请问 may I ask. 贵姓 what is your surname? I'm not really sure how to yeah, your surname. Okay. 姓 surname. 叫 to be called. 先生 Mr. Yang, it's just a surname. Surname Yang. And that's all.
对话 the first dialogue.
Okay, so it's a tight fit, but I'm basically going to, so this is Lina, or sorry, this is Lina, this is Yang Laoshi, he's green. Lina is red, and then Lu Yuping is blue. So I'll start, and then I'll come back and tell you what it means. 可以进来吗？请进，杨老师你好，这是我朋友，他是记者。请问您贵姓？我姓陆，叫陆雨平。你好，陆先生，认识你很高兴。杨老师，认识您，我也很高兴。
So, come back and break this down for you.
Okay, so we'll start with where Yang Laoshi says, 可以进来吗? And 可以 just means like may, can I? 进来 is come in, so 可以进来吗? And of course the marker, that's a question, 可以进来吗? 可以 can I? 进来吗? Can I come in? So you can put any verb after 可以 to ask a question. 请进 Sure, okay. 请进 means 请 is like please, 进 is enter. So 请进 like please come in. Yang 老师, his name, 您好, and we already know about this. 是我朋友，他是记者, and then 他是 occupation. So 他是记者, so he is a reporter. Okay. 请问, again, asking, may ask this question. 请问您贵姓? What is your surname? 您贵姓? So 贵姓 is the verb. So he's just asking 您贵姓, what is your surname? And then Yu Ping says 我姓陆. My surname is Lu. 我姓陆. So sing is like my surname is 我姓陆. My surname is Lu. 叫, I'm called 我叫, but he's leaving out the 我, so 我姓陆. 叫陆玉平. I'm called, so this is my name, 陆玉平. So after 叫, you will say your entire name, not just your surname. Sing is just for your surname, and 叫 is for you to tell them your full name. 你好, 陆先生. Again, surname before the title. 陆先生, 认识你, to know you. 认识你. 很高兴, 认识你, 很高兴. 认识你很高兴. And this is extremely important when you're meeting Chinese people and you introduce yourself to each other. You would say 认识你很高兴. To know you, I'm very happy. So 认识你, to know you, 很高兴, I'm happy. Okay. Okay. So when learning, meeting Chinese people, definitely remember this phrase. 认识你很高兴. 认识你很高兴. So to know you, I'm happy. So there you go. So literally to know you, knowing you, I'm very happy. 认识你很高兴. Okay, and then Yu Ping replies to Yang 老师. He says, 杨老师, 认识您, 您, form of respect. So we know that Yang 老师 is older than him, or he's respecting, or like as an elder to him. So something like that. So he says, 杨老师, 认识您, 认识您. 我也很高兴. Okay, this should be a third tone there. So, 认识您, 我也很高兴. Remember, 我也很高兴. 我也很高兴. 杨老师, 认识您, 我也很高兴. And there you go. That's the entire dialogue. So I'll quickly read it through. 可以进来吗？请进，杨老师，你好，这是我朋友，他是记者。请问您贵姓？我姓陆，叫陆玉平。你好，陆先生，认识你，很高兴。杨老师，认识您，我也很高兴。
生词 Part 2。
好，我们开始听我翻译。语言，语言，语言。学院，学院，学，学的，的。学生，学生。什么，什么。学习，学习。汉语，汉语。英国，英国。马大为， 马大维，加拿大，加拿大，美国，美国，美国。So to tell you what these words mean, 语言 is language, 语言，学院 is institute, 学院，学 is to study, 学，的 is a possessive modifier, and I'll get more into that later. 学生，学生 is student. 我是学生 I'm a student. 什么，什么，什么 what? 什么，什么，学习，学习 is also study. 汉语，汉语 is the Chinese language, referring specifically to the language. Yeah. 英国，英国 is Britain, and before, if you guys remember, I taught you guys about adding a 人. So 英国人 is a person from Britain or a British person. 马大维，马大维 is a name. Ma, the surname. 大维 is, it's sort of like David, the Chinese version of David. So 大维，马大维。加拿大，加拿大 is Canada, and it kind of sounds like Canada. 加拿大人 a Canadian. 加拿大人，我是加拿大人 I'm Canadian, not really. Just so you get an idea. 加拿大人，美国，美国，美国人 American. 美国 America. 我是美国人 I'm American. 我是美国人 and pay attention to those tones because I cannot tell you the number of people I know who say 我是美国人 incorrectly. So remember, half their tone, second tone. 我是美国人. So, and that's it. Okay, and now for the supplementary words. 法国，法国，德国，德国，俄罗斯，俄罗斯，日本，日本。So 法国 is France, 德国 is Germany, 俄罗斯 is Russia, and 日本 is Japan. So again, you would add a 人, and in case you forgot what 人looks like this. It kind of looks like a person, like a stick person, maybe the bottom, the legs of the stick person. 人. So 法国人，法国人，法国人 person from France. 德国人，德国人 German, a German person. 俄罗斯，俄罗斯 Russian. 日本人，日本人，日本人，日本人, and that would be a Japanese person. So there you go, now you know France, Germany, Russia, and Japan.
对话, the second dialogue.
So Lena says, so Lena is the red and Ma Dawei is the green. So first, Lena says, 我是语言学院的学生，我姓林，叫琳娜，我是英国人，你姓什么？ So first she says, 我是 I am 语言学院的学生. So 学生 is student. So she's saying you can get rid of the modifier. 我是学生 I'm a student. But there's a modifier here. The signifies that what comes before 学生 is what is modifying what is 学生? So 语言 language 学院 language institute 的学生 she is a student at the language institute. So whatever comes before the is the modifier here. So again, 我是语言学院的学生. I'm a student at the Language Institute. So literally, I am the Language Institute's student. So you could almost see this as an apostrophe because it's possessive, indicating what is possessive of something else. So the Language Institute's student. 我姓林. My surname is Lin. 叫, sorry for this. 叫 Lina. 叫 Lina. I'm called Lina. So if you wanted to introduce, if you had a Chinese name, for example, my Chinese name is Gao Xinyi, I would say 我姓高. My surname is Gao. 叫 Gao Xinyi. 叫 Gao Xinyi. And I would be telling you what my name is. So that's what I'm called. So this is my surname and this is what I'm called. 我是英国人. And we went over 英国 is Britain and then 英国人 is British. 我是英国人. 你姓什么? 什么 what? 你姓什么? Your surname is what? 你姓什么? And the reason it's in this word order is so when he replies, he would say 我姓 and replace the 什么 because it's you are called what and I am called this. This is my surname. So then, let me zoom in a bit. Okay, so 马大为 says 我姓马，叫马大为. So my surname is Ma, and I'm called Ma Dawei. And then Lina says, 你是加拿大人吗? 你是加拿大人吗? Are you Canadian? 你是加拿大 Canada 人 a person from Canada 吗? 你是加拿大人吗? And then Ma Dawei replies, 我不是加拿大人. So 不 always comes before the verb to negate it. 我不是加拿大人. I'm not Canadian. So if he asked her if she was British, 你是英国人吗? Are you British? She could say, 我不是英国人. I'm not English. So here he's saying, 我不是加拿大人. 我不是加拿大人. 我是美国人. I am American. 我是 I am 美国人 American. 也是 also. 也是 I am also. 也是语言学院的学生. And again we have this modified before 学生. So what kind of 学生? 语言学院的. So again, 语言学院的学生. And then he says, 我学习汉语. I study Chinese. 我学习汉语. And 汉语 is refers specifically to the language. That's the difference between 汉语 and 中文. So 汉语 is like, you know, the Chinese language, or Han, specifically the language of the Han. Okay, so that's about it. I'll go over the dialogue. So Lina, 我是语言学院的学生，我姓林，叫林娜，我是英国人，你姓什么？我姓马，叫马大为，你是加拿大人吗？我不是加拿大人，我是美国人，这是语言学院的学生，我学习汉语。
注释 Notes
Okay, so I'm going to highlight a couple of things that I think are important. So we talked a little bit about 微信. Sorry, I'm trying not to write messy. Okay, so 微信 and 叫. So 微信 versus 叫. Very simple, but I want to make sure you guys know the difference. So 微信 is just surname. So like 您微信 is it's a very polite way. For example, if you're making friends in China, it might be a little odd if you ask them, 您微信, because it's very formal. I mean, if you want to be really polite, you can say that, but they might be a little put off if you guys are like peers or classmates, someone who's on your level, to say 您微信, a little formal. So save that for formal situations, because you're also saying 您微信, so perhaps a way to refer to your elders, or if you're doing business with someone, 您微信. 叫. For example, if you want to ask someone what their name is, you can just say 你叫什么名字? And I don't want to complicate this too much. So here's another supplemental word for you, 名字, name. 你叫什么名字? Or you can say, and I'll put 名字 here. 你叫什么? 你叫什么? What are you? If you want to be more polite, but not too formal, like 您贵姓, that's really formal, you can say 请问. So may I ask, 你叫什么? 请问你叫什么? So may I ask you, what are you called? So 你叫, you called what? 什么? And again, you could replace the 什么 with your name. So I would say 我叫高兴你高兴你, and those are all, I'll write the characters for you guys here. 高兴你高兴你我叫高兴你. Or if someone asked 你贵姓, I would say 我姓高我姓高. So my surname is Gao, and that's pretty much it. And ask them, if someone says 你叫什么名字? I could just say 我叫 and then say my name. So I'm going to talk to you a bit about modifiers, because the book doesn't talk about it in this chapter, and I don't understand why, because I think it's extremely important, especially as you progress in Chinese. So for example, we have this 我是语言学院的学生. I'm a student at the Language Institute. You can't always make this a possessive. For example, you can't always just put an apostrophe s there. Like, 我的妈妈, my mother. 我的爸爸, my father. I mean, that's the basic idea. It's a possessive. However, sometimes it gets a bit complicated, and sometimes you'll have these very long sentences followed by the, to modify this small phrase. Like, 银行, which is bank. So you'll have like this really long phrase in front of it. And the same thing is in Chinese. For example, in English, we can kind of go on and on and on while we're describing someone, like, you're trying to tell someone, oh, that girl over there, and they're like, who? It's like the one who's wearing the red dress, and they're like, I don't see her. Like, and she's also, her hair's up in a bun, and I talked to her last week, and she was the one wearing the green ribbon on her dress, or whatever. All of that has to come before whatever you're modifying. so you can't keep adding onto it when you are trying to modify something. So for another example is, so you can use some of your vocabulary. Oops, what am I writing? Okay, so 喝咖啡的学生 and it comes before the, and I'll also underline the noun, you know, what it's modified. So this is being modified, and this is the modifier. So what student is it? 语言学院的学生. Which student? 喝咖啡的学生. The student drinking coffee. So for example, if you're, you know, you said 那是我的朋友. He says, you know, she can't find your friend. I'm not going to try to give you too many complicated phrases, but谁? You can say 喝咖啡的学生, or I guess in this case you'd say 喝咖啡的人. 喝咖啡的人, the person drinking coffee. So yeah, that's pretty much it. But just remember that the modifiers always come before what is being modified. So in this case, it's 学生. It can also be 人. The 人. Well, as you guys learn more words, you can mess around with this some more. You know, and you can also modify the teacher, you know, like 喝咖啡的老师, 喝咖啡的医生. So just mess around with modifying phrases. You can use a verb and like 喝咖啡的人. Or you can just say, well, you can't say 咖啡的人, but yeah, just mess around with it. If you have any problems with modifying modifiers and using the, just send me a message. I'll probably put my email in the description, so it'll be easier to email me.
作业练习声母和韵母，生词读课文，使用归姓、姓、叫，使用的。Homework. Practice the initials and finals, new words, and reading the text or the dialogues. Also practice using 归姓, 姓, and 叫, as well as the use of the.